Late Night Health continues. I'm Mark Alyn. Our guest is Georgia Dow. She is the co-creator of anxiety-videos.com. And we're talking about anxiety as we head into the holiday season. There's a lot of things to be anxious about. Elections, terrorists, meeting a new person at a bar. There's all kinds of things that you can be anxious about. However, there are ways to control it. What is the number one tip that you have for our audience today, Georgia, that will reduce anxiety unquestionably?
So one of the main things that you can do right away, like right now, no training, no techniques, really easy, is to reframe what you're looking at. And often I say, if you're not going to care about something in 5 years, should you really care that much about it now? And the second one is to say to yourself that if this isn't going to kill me, I'm going to make it through and be stronger for that. And that often will be in and of itself something that will make you go, okay, I'm going to be all right. I'm going to be okay. And then your body says, I don't have to go into fight or flight because I'm going to be fine.
When you go into fight or flight, hormones are released that make your body react. You're on hyper alert. Mm-hmm. And many people are on hyper alert all the time because of the stress that they're undergoing. Am I correct?
Oh, yes. Yes, they're under stress. And the worst part to that is that when we see someone else that's really stressed or even angry because it's fight or flight, we also get the contagion effect of saying, oh, my goodness, if they're really nervous about something, then maybe I should be as well. And so when we deal with populations that are going through something stressful together, the stress often escalates one to the other. And that can be really exhausting on your system because we say to ourselves, well, if you're feeling stressed, then there must be a danger. And maybe I should be more stressed, too, to keep me safe. Because in the end, that's what our anxiety system wants to do. It just wants to keep us safe. And so when we think to something like, this is really bad in our head, our own perspective of that, then that releases all of those neurotransmitters and cortisol and adrenaline into our system that makes us feel like we're losing control.
And want to run.
And want to run. Or want to attack, too. Aggression is also an anxiety response. But really what we're saying is that I don't feel safe. And if you can reframe it saying, I'm going to be okay, right away your body doesn't want to have to waste those neurochemicals and says, okay, we'll be all right. So doing that and also doing deep breathing techniques helps reset our system by saying, you know what, if you're doing long, deep breaths, I guess you're not running from a tiger. I don't need to send out any adrenaline. Everything's going to be okay.
Let me give you a scenario. 50-year-old man's been with a company 15 years. They're hiring a lot of young guys, 23, 24, maybe 27. And they're in his department at this corporation. He sees the writing on the wall. They want him gone because of his age. He starts working out. He dyes his hair. He loses weight. He tries to look young. He acts young. But at the same time, that stress level is there.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
You're going to tell me that deep breathing is going to help that poor guy?
Well, I'll say two things. One is that it would be ridiculous of a company to get rid of someone that's been there for a while and that's stable and the training that you put into them is going to be well used, instead of someone young and up-and-coming that's going to leave the company whenever they find a better footstool. So that's the first statement.
And that means one of two things. You're either very, very smart or very, very old. Okay, what's the second thing?
The other thing is that, this person is going to be in this situation one way or the other. Let's say that the writing is on the wall. This is what they're thinking about. They're 100% sure that this is going to happen. Will adding stress to the situation, which will decrease their health, make them more anxious, make them more angry, increase the chances of making mistakes, cause them to have difficulty with sleeping, which will cause them difficulty with remembering things, actually, and then lower their life resistance and health, actually help this situation? No, it won't. So being stressed on top of it either way, we're going to deal with whatever cards are dealt to us, and sometimes they're good and sometimes they're bad. But unless a tiger is actually attacking you, having a stress reaction is actually going to make you decrease your life happiness. And so, yes, you may go through having to have a job change, and that's stressful, and it's a horrible thing to have to go through. But my thought on it is, let's not add you being stressed and then getting sick and then having other bad things happen on top of it.
Like a heart attack.
It could be. Or your resistance, when you're stressed and anxious, your resistance to disease also goes down. So when you're really stressed out, your body is making all kinds of red blood cells, not white blood cells, that are going to deal with free radicals and illness.
We are out of time, Georgia. I promised I was going to kind of bust your butt a little bit. And as we wrap up, you do a number of podcasts. We haven't been invited on. It's okay. The stress and anxiety level that I have from not being invited on some of your podcasts, it's all right.
He's freaking out. He's freaking out now.
We could rectify that. Rectify that.
We'll talk about alternative health on one of your shows, all right?
That sounds wonderful.
All right, good. Georgia Dow, the co-creator of anxiety-videos.com, has been our guest. Check it out. You can always go to latenighthealth.com. We're going to move on. We have more coming up. We're going to talk about CVS and flu vaccines. Don't go away. Late Night Health continues.